in 1998, Family Matters is airing season 9, episode 20. Pop goes the question. Both Urkel and Stefan propose to Laura.
You might have explained this to me. Was an Urkel machine what caused Stefan Urkel to become his own like entity?
Yeah, he figured out some glitch in the Matrix. Steve did, and it made it so that Steve and Stefan can exist in the same multi Winslow verse.
I mean, it's getting wild, Steve. We're season 9. The storylines are getting pretty crazy. This is kind of like a wild flashback on flashback on flashback episode. Starts with Carl just in a diner with his buddy Willie.
Willie,
It's a lot of Willies in this fucking
what you gonna do,
this
Willie?
show. They're just hanging out shooting the shit, and Carl's like, man, Casa de Winslow is just wild right now. This shit's crazy as hell. I guess it's basically all down to Laura's love life, Steve.
It all started with a nerd named Steve Urkel, the kid who blew up his lab class. Yeah, that motherfucker. So he recalls to the time where he's at the crib and Laura and Steve, they come back from a date and they're dressed in their flamenco suits. And Laura, she's got them yitties out.
Laura Winslow, how do declare? Steve's just in the midst of like a flamenco seizure. Every time somebody says flamenco, he's like, flamenco!
With his clickers. What are those called? Castanets?
I don't know. I call them clickers, Steve. That's what I wrote in my notes. The flamenco clickers. He's going crazy with the flamenco. We kind of cut to later. I think there's like a commercial break, and Carl's like shining his shoes. Urkel still has the flamenco shit on. But Urkel's just basically smiling at Carl like a lunatic. And you can tell he wants to get his attention. So Carl's like, what, dude? What do you want? And Urkel, asked him to stand up, which he does. He's like, you got to sit down. He's doing all this like shit to get Carl pissed the fuck off. And basically what he tries to do, Steve, he wants to ask Carl for permission to ask Laura to marry him. What a gentleman. But Carl is like, what? And he thinks that Steve has actually already asked.
Yeah.
So he's freaking the fuck out, like, oh shit, you're gonna be in my life forever. Oh fuck. But Steve's like, no, I wanted to get your permission, your blessing. So then Carl's a little bit relieved that his daughter had not lost her mind, basically.
Like, yeah, I want your blessing. And so Carl's just like, oh, my bless, dude, yeah, go ahead, try it out. Yeah. So we'll see. Okay, future son-in-law, because he just knows Laura's going to say no.
Also, we find out, Steve, as we flash back to the diner, that he also knows that Laura was dating another man. And that man is Stefan Urkel, Steve.
The perfect son-in-law.
He's a top model. He's a man about the world. He's rich. We flash back to a flashback again, Steve, where we see Laura get met by Stefan at the door. They're going to go out for burgers, but for some reason, Stefan's in a tuxedo, Steve. Looking so smooth.
Stefan bothered me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater or something, but it's just too extra with it. That's right.
Stefan reminds Laura about that magical moment back at Disney World where he proposed to Laura and brought out that Cinderella slipper. It fit perfectly.
That's right.
And yeah. I didn't remember that he actually asked her to marry him at that moment. We cut back from the flashback to Disney to the living room, and Stefan's like, I brought that slipper again because ever since that day, Laura, I've been loving you even more and more. And now I want to know if you'll marry me for real. And so she's like, and he's like, I know, you got to just wait. You got to think about it. So I'm going to go get a drink, get some champagne. And when we get back, we can toast to the new engagement. Like a boss, Steve. Like a goddamn boss.
And then while he's at the kitchen, Flower Man, he comes in there. And then after he comes in, several delivery men come in with flowers. And then after that, Steve comes in with a bouquet of flowers. Is he wearing the apron at this point?
Yeah. He's got World's Best Husband on because him and Stefan come from the same person, the same DNA, Steve. So he's got the same idea. He's like, I wanted to remind you of a time that you and I had, our first love. So we cut back to when he was wearing that apron, Steve, to a class project where Laura's much younger, much gruffer, much manlier than Steve is. They've been made to be man and wife as some kind of weird project in school, which I don't understand.
It's a classic episode too, man.
Yeah,
And he's not only wearing the same apron, he's wearing the whole getup, the plaid shirt, the same pants. In the flashback, he's trying to get a kiss from Laura. It's like, look, I'm gonna give you a F because they grade each other. Now, this one got me
dude.
when I first saw it, because Steve lays down some realness with her. He shows her the ring. She finds out it's $800, and it's money that he saved up from his relatives just to keep him away. And she was like, "This is getting out of hand. You're giving me this ring. Look, we're not married, we're not engaged, we're not even dating, and we never will be. I'd like for you to leave me alone."
Yeah, dude. And that's Laura fucking Winslow's trash, Steve.
There it
That's
is.
crazy. And then to add insult to injury, Steve's like, I know I'm not worthy of you, but I just can't help loving you. It's like wanting to touch a star. You know you'll never reach it, but you just got to keep reaching just in case. He's like, it was the best time of my life because that's the closest that I was ever going to get to marry you. And I mean, you can't compete with that, Steve. That's crazy. If she says no to this man,
Yeah.
you're sick in the head, Laura. You're sick.
And we cut back to modern time, and Steve proposes to her again, and it's the same ring.
That $800 ring, Steve. And then Stefan comes back in right as Steve is getting up off the knee. What you gonna do now, bitch?
What are you doing here? I just proposed to Laura. Well, I just proposed to Laura. I really have to think about it.
Damn. So we cut back to the diner. Willie's, I mean, just enthralled in this story. He wants to know who was chosen. And Carl's like, it took her 2 days and 2 nights, which, come on. You gonna leave these guys hanging that long, Laura? I know it's a big decision, but god damn. We cut back to her making her decision. A lot of flashbacks. This is the crazy notes section. But now Laura's asking Carl and new Harriet what she should do because she can't decide. And you can tell from Carl's answer that he's very much on Team Stefan. You know, he's like, guy's hot, probably hung like a horse. He's rich. I mean, this guy's everything. I would pick him if I was a woman. I mean, he goes that in, Steve. Maybe he doesn't say the hung like a horse thing. He's thinking it, though.
Maybe he did, yeah. And the mom, new Harriet, she's kind of like on the same boat. He's handsome, sophisticated. Any girl would be lucky to have him. But then there's Steve. He's sweet, he's gentle, makes me laugh, he's smart, and his inventions could change the world. This is Laura saying this.
Yeah. And because Carl and Harriet, too, are like, yeah, I think there's something good about Steve, but all I can think about is all like the thousands of shitty things at this moment. So, yeah. But maybe the invention thing, because he did split his DNA down in two and create another person who you might also marry. So, I mean, think about that.
He did do that.
Doesn't that give him the ultimate one up on Stefan? Just because I'd be like, I created you, motherfucker. You ain't got a birth certificate.
If you have logic, yeah.
Yeah, if you have actual sound mind and body, yes.
When she asked Harriet, what made you feel like dad was the one? She was just like, I was madly in love with him and I never wanted to live my life without him. That's how they end that flashback. And I think that kind of gave her some pointers like, man, I should just go with my heart.
Yeah. But then we find out by Carl's story at the diner that this whole decision was actually almost taken out of her hands completely, which leads us back to another flashback where Laura's just at her house and Steve comes down like packed for like a trip, fully packed, Steve. He's got suitcases. He's got like a cabinet thing, whatever that little Harry Potter chest thing he has. She's like, where are you going, Steve? And he's like, going to Moscow forever, baby. Again, out of nowhere. It seems a little dramatic.
Yeah, that escalated quick.
Yeah, and she's like, wait, what? And he's like, just so embarrassed after proposing to you that I know I can't ever stack up to Stefan. So I just figured, like, I just got to leave. She's like, how could you do that? You just told me you love me and, like, you wanted to marry me. How could you leave? And he tells her that he loves her so much that basically his only thing that he ever wants is to make her happy. And the only way he can make her happy is to let her go so that she can go to that stallion of Stefan over there and not have to think about little old Steve over here in the corner.
He says one request. I just have one favor. Remember me. And then Laura stops him. You just can't leave. And he's like, why not? Because I can't live without you, and I want to marry you. You do?
This is it, Steve. This isn't the finale, but this feels like the fucking finale. This should have been the finale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would make more sense.
After 9 seasons, I think maybe they only have 2 episodes left. Laura finally fully redeems herself. You're not a cold hearted, gross bitch.
And
You're
we
a
seen it
hot, very nice lady that found love. And I love that for you guys.
because she's always been hot. Never, ever took that away from her.
That flashback, though, with the apron, Steve, if I was a little boy, I'd be like, that girl looks tough.
Yeah,
She looked like she'd beat his ass. This is great, Steve. And then, we cut from that love to Willie toasting Steve Urkel and Carl throwing a couple Alka Seltzer in that toast cup and then taking a nice big sip and toasting Steve to his new son-in-law.
future son-in-law.
Hell yeah.
And then in the credits, we got some classic flashbacks. Like I said, man, they're prepping us for that end run.
Just through the years, Steve. Steve and Laura through the years. This is going to be played at their wedding anniversary someday,
Yeah,
you know?
this
But
wedding needs a montage.
you can't when you go to late Family Matters, it's like mid 90s WWE, Steve. It's tough.
Yeah,
But this one, it got me. Seeing Steve finally get his and finally get Laura telling him how much she loves him
yeah.
with no like reluctance at all, or like being like, I can't believe I'm doing this. That's it. That's fine. I will take this. I say, Laura Winslow, you're redeemed from all that terrible behavior.
It goes back to something I said before about this show too. Like this episode, if you ignore the whole cyborg Steve being made, this was a real episode. It had real feelings, real emotions. It didn't involve crazy inventions and like them going back in time to be pirates or Bruce Lee or anything. And that's what I really appreciated about the early seasons. It tapped into that. I mean, obviously because of the flashbacks, but the fact that it was real, this is the essence of Family Matters that I enjoyed every Friday night.
Well, it truly was the essence of the show because Steve's love of Laura was basically the through line of everything. You
The
know,
through line of everything, man. Yeah.
that's great, man. I like watching an older one of these because I hate talking like bad about Family Matters because I love it so much. And but these episodes in the last season, it's like,
It's tough.
shit, man. He might be a pirate. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen here, but
I get why ABC pulled the plug on it at this point, man, because you know they finished this out in CBS just like Step by Step.